Earlier, I wanted to talk about how modern day emergency management is better than emergency management pre-colonization.
That's a pretty big subject. You know what? You're
But how
asking
would we know it's better or
how
not
will we know
better?
what's better? Here's the thing with modern EM, and this is the problem we're having right now, is that we don't know if modern EM is better than how it was before. You want to know why?
Why?
Because no one has asked First Nations.
Well, but you don't know, do you?
Of course we know.
Okay, what was emergency management like? Okay, so let's go back to like 1000 AD in Britain, in Europe. 1000 AD, when there was nobody here, and it was like 492 years before anyone got to Turtle Island. What
Yeah.
what would emergency management have been like?
Where's our markers?
Do you want the black one?
Or the black one.
I don't.
We're
Where
gonna
did
do,
you
we're gonna
put
do
it? In your
visually.
pocket? Oh, here. Black.
I'll tell you why. So we're going back to emergency management and how a tribe would look after each other in different areas. This is the thing that always my uncle said this. My late uncle Clement. He said the funny thing is first contact. First thing they called us was savages. They said we had no structure. They said we were running rampant in the prairies and whatever, and yet we had a social structure. So emergency management back, if you're looking back pre-contact or even before that,
Well, yeah, way before
way
contact.
before that. So
Way before.
this is what my late uncle Clement told me.
I didn't think you were gonna have to draw.
Just they're gonna see.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So you have a tribe, right? Here's the tribe. Right here. Within that tribe, depending on what's happening, you had different chiefs within that tribe. You had your war chief. You had your chief that did politics.
Is this the same for all
All
all tribes?
all tribes. Politics. You had a chief that was the chief of the tribe.
Because you're Blackfeet.
Yeah.
If a Cree is watching this, are they going to agree with you?
You know what? They may not agree with the way this is put up, but they're going to have a similar
Similar thing. Okay.
thing what it is. So the way my uncle would always tell me it would be this. So the tribe itself would have different chiefs, right? You have one chief that's obviously the chief of the tribe. However, they had responsibilities of each different chief. So depending on what the tribe was dealing with, this chief would be heading up the team here. So if they're going to war, the war chief would take over, the tribe chief would step down.
But they didn't call it a team. What do they call it?
What's that?
They wouldn't have called it a team.
Okay. Well, what they do is they the tribe. They say, okay,
Yeah.
the war chief would step up,
Yeah.
and because the tribe chief said, okay, this is the war chief, he's going to take over. And everyone knew their role when it came to war because the war chief would come up here, the tribe chief would take care of what the tribe needed to do to prepare. And if there's any politics, you had one chief that if they went to another tribe, whether for peace talks or to whatever, this chief was known for being kind and being respected, very well respected. So it went to the other tribe, nothing would happen to him.
Okay, so like what other kind of chiefs would you have? Like would you have ones for food,
Yeah,
gathering or hunting?
yeah, you had the tribe chief.
Okay, so
So and yes, you'd probably have the, you know, be the
okay, would you have a housing chief that like somebody that
no,
well, I don't know. But here's my question. Okay, so if you think
yeah,
back to like the Roman age, right, with like Spartans, like the Roman civilization had emergency management sort of this way. I call it emergency management, and it's even like today with the Canadian Rangers, right? So you'd have this Spartan warrior who is also a farmer, and they would have all their gear at their house or wherever they are.
Yeah.
And if they were going to war, they grab it, they gather, they form, they go to war. Or I would imagine if there's something else going on in the village, those would be one of the first people to respond. So it's kind of no different than today what Canada's doing in the north with like rangers.
Yeah.
So like Arctic Rangers, they have their skidoo, they've got their guns, they've got all their stuff. If something happens in the north, they all go and they respond.
Yeah.
I'm like, could that have been similar
Absolutely.
in this
So
structure?
again, for all my brothers and sisters, some Dene, Cree, Blackfoot, out east,
All my white brothers.
BC, is I can speak for the Blackfoot things and you can, everyone here can familiarize what I'm talking about. So we had our own team. So we had what they call societies. Within those societies, that was our governance.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the Horn Society, right? We had the Parachicken Society, right? We had Moto Geeks, which is the women society, right? And then we had the Brave Dogs. The Brave Dogs were the ones that would do security for the nation,
Okay.
for the tribe. They weren't allowed to be married. They had to be single because that was their job, to be first. If somebody was attacking, the Brave Dogs were the first ones to go head to head with whoever was there. So to answer your question, back then, this is how within societies, this is how emergency management looked like for them.
Yeah.
And